This video, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about practicing entrepreneurship while you're at university. I think it's a great opportunity that many people don't take advantage of. I'll go through my journey, and along the lines, I'll share with you 4 lessons which you could replicate in your own university life. So this is perfect if you're a student and you want to take advantage of the opportunities you have at university to practice your entrepreneurship skills. The journey I'm about to take you through is that of my PhD journey for the last 4 years. I started my PhD immediately after my undergrad, and I was a hungry 23-year-old kid. I was super curious about my topic in PhD, which was brain-computer interfaces, and I just wanted to do something big. And fortunately, in my PhD, in my lab, there were a bunch of entrepreneurial friends. They were trying their own startup idea during that time. So hanging around them, I really loved the vibe, the energy, and the things they were doing, and I really wanted to do something similar. During this time in my first year, an opportunity came in the business entrepreneurship group at the university. They were advertising a competition, prize for £2,000 that you can apply for, where you could use that to test out your idea. And I thought I'll apply. So I remember that week. That week was a bit crazy because the deadline was on Friday or Thursday, I remember, the end of the week. And it was during the similar time frame, the same week, that my grandfather, who I was very close to, died. And he was a very entrepreneurial figure himself in his own sense, in his own career. I was pretty down that week. Thought I'll just leave it and maybe do it next year. The night before the deadline, I got visualizing and picturing that my grandfather telling me, get up and just go for it. Imperfect, doesn't matter, just go for it. Very impromptu decision. The same night before the deadline, I thought I'll just apply. I stayed in my lab the whole night. The deadline was 12 the following day, and just like a minute or 3 before the deadline, I submitted it. But guess what happened? I did not get it. The Hollywood storyline would be struggle, get it, but I did not get it. I did not get it for obvious reasons. I didn't spend a lot of time, and I was new. It was my first time. This brings me to my first lesson. You gotta make a start. I made a start by first applying to a competition, a concrete action taken towards this vision I had, a vaguely undefined vision. So if you're a student and you just think on the fences about this, you don't think you can do it, you don't think you're business savvy or anything, just take that first step. One of the very useful things I did back then was to change my thoughts. I used to visualize. I used to picture me in a conference room sitting at one side, and Steve Jobs and Elon Musk would be on the other sides. See, I'm a big fan of both. And we would just keep discussing casually about various ideas, plans, and all that. They were my group that I hung out with every day in my mind. You might think it's funny or strange or silly, but the strange thing is the more you picture that, the more you imagine that, your thoughts somehow like calibrate towards that reality, and you kind of act like that. And that's good, because what you want is your thoughts to think that you're capable of doing such things so that you'll take actions. And the more actions you take, the more probable you're going to succeed. Visualize until it becomes a reality, so that you start taking more actions, because the magic lies in the action. During this time, I remember in the summer break, that was the first time I got introduced into VR and AR and the whole immersive technology. I was fascinated by the experience. I spent the whole summer practicing my programming skills and learning VR, AR development. I set myself a target then to really make this jump into this entrepreneurial thing and really get started. What I'll do is I'll build an app. It was an AR alarm app. I gave myself 2 months to finish it. I actually built it. It was not perfect. And I signed up for the iTunes account, paid that £70 a year fee. And just when I was about to release it, the same day, my dad came up to me and said, have you heard of the visa rules? I'm an international student in the UK, and under the visa that I have, I'm not allowed to engage in any business activity. By business activity, they mean start trading, make profits, revenue, marketing, and all that. You can't do any of that under these rules. So which meant I can't release my app. That was a huge bummer, because all this work for nothing. But I did not stop. I kept going. And that brings us to year 2. So by year 2, things started getting a bit more serious. I had a more focused idea, a VR game to relieve pain through the use of lights and sounds embodied within it, which I was doing in my PhD. So year 2, the lesson that I learned is the magic of the compound effect, and how if you keep going, you will get somewhere. What I did first in year 2 was I wanted to apply for the Ignition Award that I didn't get last time. Again, they introduced me to an accelerator program in the university, and using that skill, I refined my plan that I used earlier to apply to the competition, and I made another plan, more detailed, spent a lot more time, 3-4 weeks on it, and applied. And this time I applied again, and this time I did get it. which I was very happy about. Yeah, I was super happy. And what I did was, using this Ignition Award, I started building stuff. The first thing I did was, you can see I bought a VR headset and 2 other Oculus Go headsets as well. And using all these and my skills that I learned during summer on Unity and stuff, I started building my prototype idea. I spent my nights and my weekends, daytime I would do a PhD. Things started compounding, applied for more competitions and 3 other competitions, and I won all of them. By the end of the year, I would have 8K. Once you win the first award, you can use that to build evidence, credibility, and prototypes and data to apply for the next one. And when you apply for the next one, you can say, oh, I already won this and I did this, and you keep doing that again and again. Things start compounding and you're more likely to win the future competitions, which is really good. And towards the end of the year, I thought I'll go to the king level. The king level at our university was a competition called the Venture Further, which was the biggest competition in my university, University of Manchester. It was basically a business plan competition for 12K in award, £12,000 to develop your idea. No strings attached. So it seemed like so big at that point. Again, I took action, spent a lot of time, lots and lots of time applying for it. And the day came, I got dressed up in a nice suit, went to the event. It was a fancy award ceremony, fancy hall, nice food, great speakers. Time for awards came. I did not get it. I came to the finalist, top 4 finalists in the technology category, but I did not get it. And I remember clearly, this is something I'm so proud of. I remember that day when I lost Venture Further in 2019. I went up to the organizer and we had a talk. I told him that, yeah, I will be here next time and I will be here till my 97th birthday if need be, but I'll keep applying till I win it. Naive arrogance and confidence, but I'm glad I did that, because that put me in a situation where I did not dwell upon my loss for more than, say, 30 minutes. Immediately after my loss, I started planning my next moves on how I could win the next year's competitions. I got back up immediately the next day morning. I remember sitting in my bed and plotting my next moves. One of the main feedback I got from the competition was that great product, you have a prototype which is good, but you don't have any validation data for the business. So you got the technology, but you don't have proof that this will sell. That's what I needed. So I plotted my next moves, and my next moves was not purely focusing on the technology and the product, but finding users and validating my idea with them. So what I did was, next, I asked one of my clinical collaborators in my PhD if I can get access to one of their workshops. So I spent a lot of time to that workshop day, building, refining. Evenings, weekends, work. And the day came, the wonderful day came, and I remember it was a nice little cozy conference room, people surrounding, all much older than me, in the late 50s, 60s, and I had to give out the games one by one, teach them how to use a VR headset. Already I could see like hands shaking because they were not very comfortable playing with the game. They were like really kind to me and nice to me, but it was a nice kind of, yeah, we like it, but I could see it in their faces. I could see the way they played, and from the answers they filled out on our survey, that it's not something that thrilled them. I went back home. I remember stopping by Tesco, bought a huge cake to negate my disappointment. I did not give up. Never ever gave up. How can I change now? What can I do? And the uncomfortable answer after deep thinking was that you got to change plans. So I had to make a pivot, and I thought the same idea, gamified light and sound therapy, could be actually used for stress relief and relaxation. And I thought I'll do it in a smartphone first, because at that point VR was not mainstream either as it now. So lots of work ahead, 1 year wasted. And here the key lesson I learned, which I hope you would take to heart, to not to build and sell, but sell then build. That brings me to year 3. Previous year what I did was I spent a lot of time on building the technology before validating it with users. Partly the reason why I lost the competition as well. I need to validate the idea for the games for relaxation before I start building it. So selling before building. It was during this time, a friend called Nathan, he's a very experienced marketer and stuff, and he introduced me to the idea of validating your idea online. And the way it works is basically you create up a landing page, advertise your features of your product, and drive traffic to that page and get as many email signups as possible. Email signups that you collect is evidence of interest to buy. Again, because of my visa limitations, I could not do that because that's like marketing a product. Instead, I had to send out surveys. More diluted form of idea validation. I got about 1K to do this, and we spent like that money on just Facebook ads. It drove traffic to our survey and collected about 1,800 responses from our target users. The beauty of Facebook ads is you could target very specifically. You could target people based on the interests, like meditation, gamers, brain fitness enthusiasts, and all that. Yeah, and it's beautiful how detailed you can target. And using all that data, I then made my next move, which was to apply for the Venture Further again that year. The competition that I lost in the previous year, applied again. And this time, using this data set and a more refined and focused plan from all the experiences I had, we won. That was one of my happiest days, I remember. You're happy obviously because you win something, but you're happier because you know the process you went through to get here. You know the amount of failed competitions you had last year or the year before and how it all got started. And that journey and those memories really make it all the more special. That's what I love about the process. It's much more fun when you go through the journey, learn, grow, and win. That's a much better experience. It was during this time that COVID happened, and it was my 4th year. And my 4th year, all the time, it was just build, 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 refine, build, build. And alongside this was the time I started my YouTube channel as well. Right now, I'm literally waiting. And next week is my Viva for my PhD, and after that, hopefully it's minor corrections. Then after a few weeks, I would get my next visa, under which I'll be able to set up business and break free of this entrepreneurial jail. Whether failure, success, one thing I completely learned with full conviction is that whatever happens, just go through it and keep going. And that is what I'm going to do.